One of the most common comments that I get to read on YouTube and even on Instagram is, I have lost interest in studying. What do I do? And with just about 2 to 3 to 3.5 months left for the final exams to start, there is obviously a sense of panic that has set in. So that's the subject of today's video. I am not interested in studying. So what should I do? Because obviously there are expectations from parents. There's also a lot of pressure, self-pressure, parental pressure, the pressure from teachers at school. So what you can do in this kind of a situation? Now, you need to first analyze, why have you lost interest? Obviously, studying is not something which most of us enjoy, right? So, what's the reason why you have lost interest? Is it because you don't like the subjects, or is it because you're not able to understand what is being taught to you as part of your school online offline classes, right? Or is it because you have not studied all the year, you have done a lot of matargashti, and therefore you are finding now a mountain of studying that needs to be done? Okay, it could be any of these three reasons. Okay, so first let's go through this 7-point formula, which I suggest can actually get your interest back in studying, because this is a task, whether you like it or not, you need to do, my young friends. So first you need to ask yourself a question. Do I want 60%? Do I want 90%? Right? Now, it is not enough for you to say that I want 90%, but I am not willing to put in that effort. Nothing in life, my young friends, comes easy. You need to make that effort for it. So otherwise you should be happy with that 60%. Now, many of us may argue that even 60%ers do very well in life. Of course they do, there's no problem. But if you aspire to be not one of the also rans, but to be one of the champions, you need to put in that effort. Every cricketer, every badminton player, every athlete, even a politician, in order to win an election, puts in a lot of hard work, delivers 18, 19, 20 meetings in a day. They put in a lot of hard work. So for you to kind of get success, taste success, you need to work hard. So you cannot say I am not interested, because that will simply not work. Okay. Now, if you want a 60%, you can do percentage study. You can go studying a few chapters, answer the questions that come from those chapters, and you will be very happily in that 50 to 60% bracket if you're happy with that. But if you're aspiring to be in the 90% bracket, you need to ensure that you don't do percentage study. You study the entire syllabus, whatever has been prescribed for you. You need to know everything from that syllabus in order to be able to answer the entire question paper. Okay, so that is something very, very important. So think of it as a motivation that I need to make myself happy on the day the results are announced. I need to make my parents happy. I need to make my neighbors jealous of me. So you think of all that and use that as a motivation in order to spur you on to work towards a 90%. Okay. Remember, there is no success without sweat. That's the bottom line. That is the mantra. The second big question is, boring subject or are you bored? That is a question that you need to answer. Because it cannot be both. It cannot be that it's both a boring subject and I am also bored. It can be one of the two, right? So, as your mind labeled it as boring, ki ye boring hai, I am not interested in this subject. Okay. In fact, an English writer, G.K. Chesterton, famously said, and I think it really applies out here. Listen to this. He said, there is no such thing on earth as a boring subject. There is no such thing on earth as a boring subject. There are only disinterested minds. So if I am not interested in, say, space science, and I say, oh, it's very boring. Is space science boring? Of course not. It's a very fascinating arena. Is genetics boring? Of course not. But your mind is not feeling interested in either genetics or space science. So instead of saying that I am not interested, you say it is very boring. And that, according to me, is a very escapist way of saying it. So you need to decide whether history is a boring subject, or are you not interested in studying history. That is the big question. So you need to test yourself, because you need to understand that you are actually fighting two battles. The first battle is against the subject, that you need to master that subject, whatever the subject may be. The second battle is against your own mind, which is resisting studying that particular subject. So you need to tell your mind to mind its own business. You need to do this job. So concentrate, focus, and get on with the job. So your two battles against the mind and against the subject has to be won by you as an individual. That is something very, very important. So if you want to win that battle, you will be on course to getting here to 90%. The third one is as a strategy. If you are feeling very, very overwhelmed by the length, by the bulk of the chapter, break that large chapter into small parts. If it's a large chapter running into 15 pages, 20 pages, break it into 4 parts, 5 pages each. 5 into 4, 20. Do it over 4 sessions. You could do one session in the morning, one session in the night, or you could do it over 4 days. But ensure that while you're doing it thoroughly. You're doing a good job of studying that chapter. And once you finish that small chunk, there will be a sense of achievement that will set in, and that will make it easier. That will motivate you to go on to the second, from the second to the third, from the third to the fourth, and you will realize gradually you have been able to finish off this large chapter. That is the way to actually do it. Cheat your mind. The mind, if you tell the mind that you need to do this 20-page long chapter, the immediate reaction would be that I don't want to do it. But if you say that I will do a 5-page chapter, the mind may just be a little more receptive. So cheat the mind and tell him we are going to do only a 5-page chapter. That is what you need to do. Okay. Fourth, of course, don't try to do rote learning. And I say this again and again. Don't try to cram your mind with a whole lot of facts and concepts. Understand them. Make mind maps according to what works for you. Please, for heaven's sake, don't borrow mind maps given by someone else and try to apply it to yourself. It does not work that way. Use your own mind maps according to what you are interested in. Use flowcharts to see, okay, this is the sequence in which I will remember. Smart codes. This works fantastically in subjects like biology, geography in particular, even to remember history dates and history events, etc. Use smart codes. Use flowcharts and mind maps again for history. Subjects like history, you will make it easier for you to do that. So you have to kind of make it easier for your mind to also remember a whole lot of information. It's not easy for the mind. The mind is resisting because the mind finds it all very, very huge and challenging to remember. So it takes an easy way out and says that boring, I will not learn it. So you need to tempt the mind by making it easy for the mind to remember. The fifth point is, of course, to reward yourself. If you think you have done something well, choose a reward beforehand, saying that if I complete this chapter in 3 sessions, 4 sessions, I will reward myself with, say, a 20-minute break to play the instrument that I love to play, or to get a chocolate, or to just go out for a walk, or to just play a video game for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Just reward yourself. Use that as an incentive to kind of spur you on to do things which you may not be ideally interested in doing. Okay. The sixth point is study routine. This is something very important because you need to allow your mind and body to get into a routine. And the mind and the body is also a captive of a routine. If you say that you have to get up at 5:30 every morning and study from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., the first day it will resist, the second day it will resist, by the third day it will be a little more receptive to it because the body, the biological clock would have got used to that routine of getting up at 5:30 and sitting at the table at 6 o'clock. So get into a study routine and maintain that study routine. Don't be erratic with the study routine, and you will see how you're interested in your studying, because the more you kind of achieve something, the more you reward yourself. All these factors will actually help the study routine get maintained. Finally, no distractions in your own interest. If you want to stay focused ahead of the examinations, and now you have completely, now that Diwali is behind us, we have got into the final leg of the exam preparation, you will have the pre-board examinations, etc. coming up, you need to be focused. So the minimal amount of distraction should be there for you in order to achieve whatever you are capable of. Remember, at the end of the day, you are actually capable of a lot. It is for you to kind of decide whether I want to work and achieve my potential, because everyone comes with a certain potential, but for that potential to be realized you need to put in a bit of effort, right? You need to push your mind and body to achieve the potential and reach your destination. Unless you're able to do that, it's a simple physics formula. So if you're going to have hurdles and distractions, you will never be able to do that. The rabbit lost the race because he succumbed to the distraction of sleeping. He thought he was tempted by the idea of sleeping because he also underestimated the tortoise, right? So never get distracted by any kind of temptation of Instagram, of Facebook, of WhatsApp, and get focused and stay focused on what your destination is. Don't be a rabbit, be a tortoise, be on the job. Okay? And I do hope with these 7 mantras, you will not say, I am not interested in studying, and instead say, I am actually interested in studying. That's the kind of student I would really want to meet. Thank you very much for watching.